Yeah, improving agile practices, right? How many, you would think this stuff would be stable out there and we'd put ourselves out of business because everybody's doing perfect agile and
Well,
projects are
see, this
shipping on
is
time, on budget, all that kind of stuff, right? But
well, Mark, I hinted this
wow.
before. Agile was invented. One of the problems we have with Agile today is that Agile was invented by really smart people for other really smart people. All those, top end of the tail programmers I talked about earlier, that Agile was invented for them. And so a lot of the early books, all the early videos and blog posts, things that people still refer to, talk about that form of Agile, not the more moderated, hey, let's bring back some standard engineering practices back into this reality. Like Steve's design by contract, he's mentioned a couple times thing. You don't hear about that in early Agile because he is young and saying, well, that's the work. It's like, yeah. So how do we set up this contract, right? Or things like, how do user stories actually try to improve requirements? And their improvement was not the user story template, which is trash, 90% trash. It was just supposed enough reminders to have an in-depth human conversation that was richer than written language. That we can talk about all the aspects and look at all the edge case and have these wonderful conversations. No, we don't have the conversations anymore because that wasn't what written about back in the day. And so one of the things that we're struggling with the Agile practices is that the body of knowledge, which was deeply influenced from the early 2000s, is not the Agile that actually works in everyday practice.
Well, I'm going to argue, as I often have, that if you really boil down Agile to its ultimate essence, it really is about how projects are being managed. It is project management. It says nothing about how you're doing the requirements work. It says nothing about how you're controlling complexity in the code base. It says nothing about having adequate supporting documentation for the service life of the software. And so I think that improving Agile practices is just recognizing the fact that Agile in and of itself out of the box is inadequate. We need to go beyond and start looking at better ways of doing requirements work, better ways of managing code complexity, all of these things that are just not in Agile. And the fact that they're not in Agile says we still have problems, and we've got to take a broader systemic view of how to do software. I mean, right. Earl, those people that are good at doing software will do a lot of these things implicitly. And right. What we need to do is to be making it more explicit. That's
exactly my point. It's just too many of these people assumed. I mean, I think I had this conversation with Schwaber. We just assumed people were as good as we were, would do all these proper practices because that's what you did as a good developer. And no, they don't. So we have to bring those things back in.
Right. Well, to follow on through the list here, the next two that